Shxrk has recently been called the next PeterBot. Over his entire career, he's already earned more than $200,000. And at just 14 years old, Shxrk has already been part of 4 different organizations, proving that a kid from Romania has consistently dominated pro player at such a young age. But here's the crazy part. He still hasn't won a single FNCS title, and yet people are already calling him the best player in Europe. This is the story of pro player Shxrk, and today we're going to break down why he's being called the next PeterBot. Let's jump into it. Shxrk was born on June 14, 2011 in Romania, and since his very first time playing Fortnite, it's been a long journey. He first got into Fortnite back in Chapter 1 Season 7. That was in 2019 when he was just 7 years old. At that age, most kids aren't thinking about improving at Fortnite, they're just starting school. His very first tournament came later the same year in 2019 when he was only 8. Now some people might think, oh, he just played a few tournaments and became a tier 1 pro instantly, but that's not true. Behind this, there were years of grinding. Up until 2023, nothing really changed. He kept playing more and more tournaments, and in just over 2 years he played around 200 tournaments. With no results, no wins, no recognition, not even close. And most people in that situation would already quit. But even then, there was still progress. Not the fastest, but it was there. In April 2023, he finally earned his first $100 from a Victory Cash Cup. He was just 11 years old, think about that. And only in June 2024 he was finally able to legally claim his earning, because FortniteCompetitive officially requires you be at least 13. He kept playing tournaments after that, but his first real breakthrough came in September 2024 at the PlayStation Cypher PK Cup. There he outperformed many pro players and took first place. Throughout 2024, he was usually earning around $100 per tournament, sometimes even $1,000. But this time he made $6,000, and that's when the progress became obvious. Most of his earnings in 2024 came from PlayStation Cups. He did play other tournaments too, but his most consistent result came from console events, when he was regularly placing high. That same year, Shxrk played for 2 different organizations. First RFA Corp, where he stayed for about 2 months at the start of the year and 1 more month later on. And then Breakout Year, where he spent almost 8 months. By the end of 2024, Shxrk had earned about $24,000 in total. And honestly, that's already a very strong result, especially at his age. He was improving from tournament to tournament, and by that point, in my opinion, he was already a solid tier 2 player, quickly approaching tier 1. But here's the real question, what actually makes him so good, and why are people already calling him the next PeterBot? Going into 2025, this year can confidently be called a breakthrough in his career. In the first half of the year, Shxrk was playing without an organization, but in the second half he got signed by Big, where he stayed until 2026, but more importantly, the results. In just the first 2 months of 2025, he earned around $10,000, and most of that came from winning the Solo Cash Cup, where he took first place and earned $8,000. And that wasn't one-time thing, he had a lot of first place finishes that year, a lot. And it's not just that he was winning, he was doing it consistently again and again. But at that point his dominance became much more consistent, he was constantly playing 1v1s on creative maps against pro players, and at the same time performing constantly in real matches. And in both formats he was doing incredibly well. And the moment it was clear, he was no longer just a strong tier 2 player, he was a true tier 1 player, capable of winning tournaments consistently. And throughout 2025, he still kept growing at an insane pace. He became more and more recognized and everything just kept going up. By the end of 2025, he had earned a total of $800,000, with a strong placement across many tournaments. And the most impressive part, a kid from Romania proved that he can compete at a higher level than many top pros. In 2026, he continued placing extremely high, racking up even more earnings. That year alone he earned around $100,000. which placed him in the 4th in EU earnings. Right behind Shxrk in 5th place is actually his teammate Tini, with whom he's been playing for over half a year. And overall Shxrk dollar earnings have now surpassed more than $200,000. Now that's not still at the level of $1 million earnings like PeterBot, but here's the thing, he still has time, and time will show what he's truly capable of, because his potential is insane. In March 2026 he left Big, and in the same month he was signed by the new organization Aurora Gaming, where he currently plays. Also, 2026 was the first time he qualified for LAN, but we'll get back to that later. If we talk about his popularity, back in 2023 almost no one knew who he was. In 2024 he started getting noticed, especially in the second half of the year, but still without massive hype. The real breakout happened in 2025. That's when a lot of people started hearing about Shxrk, and throughout the year his popularity just kept growing. By 2026 he had become one of the most talked about players in the Fortnite community. His name appears everywhere, in videos, analysis and comment sections, and at this point almost no one doubts his level anymore. But here's the real question, how does he do it, why he's so consistent, and what exactly allows him to dominate other pro players. Now let's talk about his playstyle and what actually makes him so dangerous. As you probably noticed, his playstyle is extremely aggressive. He constantly pushes and puts insane pressure on his opponent. Perfect aim, reaction time, extremely fast mechanics. That's exactly why people call him the EU PeterBot. PeterBot is known for his absolute dominance and confidence in fights. And Shxrk is starting to show the same pattern just at much younger age. His biggest strength is speed. He is insanely good at right hand picks, the same right hand picks I broke down in another video. Now take a look at this fight. Shxrk reacts instantly to his opponent, he immediately takes the control of the station, full piece control, and the opponent doesn't even understand what just happened. In 2026, during the solo cash cup, he qualified for finals, placing top 4000 in Europe. And in the same run, he dropped 31 kills in a single match. Before that, his record was 23 kills back in 2024. But in this game, he just didn't stop. One fight, second, third, and in the end, 31 elimination. In that match, Shxrk lands on Wunky land as usual and instantly starts fighting the first opponent. He closes the distance fast, setting up his signature right hand pick, and everything happening in a split second. He literally sees a single pixel and instantly takes the shot. He is already setting up full piece control before the opponent even enters the box. And he does this over and over again, even in tough situation. When he is low HP, he doesn't panic. At one point, both players are low HP, trading damage back and forth and completely even fight. Then, suddenly everything changed. A third player, Cjbeards, shows up trying to sneak into the fight. The opponent runs away using mobility, and Shxrk instantly reads the situation and goes fully aggressive to finish him. At the same time, he doesn't even realize Cjbeards is already above him. Cjbeards misses his shotgun shot and chaos begins. He pushes into Shxrk's box and instantly takes 150 damage in return. Shxrk is still low HP, but he still wins the fight. That's the difference. Now what happens when he's not playing solo but duos against even stronger players like in the FNCS. In high level lobbies where it's basically only pro players, he still dominates. Him and his teammate Tini, their synergy is insane. Perfect rotation, perfect timing. In one FNCS moment on April 2nd, Shxrk jumped from high and eliminated the player mid-air in a split second. You could barely even see the enemy. And if you watch the FNCS constantly, you'll notice something else. He holds high ground almost every single game, and the amount of elimination he gets per tournament, you can already see it on the screen. He's not afraid to push, he's not afraid to lose, he plays completely fearless, and in Fortnite that changes everything. And he's not playing on 0 ping, he's averaged around 20-30 ping, and even with that he's still faster than most players on 0. Right now some people might still say he's not the best player in Fortnite yet, but his skill speaks for itself. He's already dominated many pro players, and a huge part of a competitive Fortnite community is already calling him one of the best players in the game right now. No FNCS wins, no LAN appearances, but everything starts to change in 2026. What about his LAN results? His potential is insane. He only 14 years old, while most pro players are around 18 to 20. Talking about 2026, Shxrk has already qualified for 2 LAN events this year. Playing in Reload Elite Series with his teammate Tini, he reached finals twice and won both times, earning $60k as a team. The first win came on February 7, which secured his spot at the Esports World Cup with the $1 million prize pool, happening at the end of August. And with results like that, he could realistically fight for the first place there. The second one is FNCS Major 1 Summit. The final qualifiers happened just a few days ago, and he made it through successfully securing his spot at the LAN. But there, it wasn't the perfect run. On day 1 they placed at 22nd, not the result they wanted, and still outside of direct top placement for LAN qualification. But on day 2nd they won 2 games and completely tuned it in a round, finished top 5 overall, earning 40k as a team. Not first place like Scroll and Sky, but that's still very impressive. That event will take place at the end of May, also with a more than $1 million prize pool. And hopefully he has real chances. And even if something goes wrong in these LAN events, he'll still have more chances, including the FNCS Global Championship, where he can prove himself on the biggest stage. So, why do so many people call him the next PeterBot? I think you already have the answer. Just look at his results. And if you look at the community Fortnite, it feels like almost everyone is saying the same thing. Shxrk is the next PeterBot. And right now, without exaggeration, he is already one of the best players in the world, at least in Europe, on the Shxrk region by the way. He hasn't proven himself on LAN yet, he hasn't won an FNCS, but he's already made the entire community talk about him. And if he keeps going in this pace, it's no longer a question of if he becomes top 1. It's a question of when. Hope you enjoyed the story of Shxrk, don't forget to subscribe, and you can go check out the next video on your screen right now. Peace.